An 8-year-old girl leaves her school in a small town in Ontario, Canada. She never comes home. Within hours, police have surveillance footage. They have an unknown face. They also have a man who should already have been in prison. The trail leads away from the town. It leads away from what is visible. What follows exposes not only a crime, it exposes a system failure. This is a case where conditional release had fatal consequences. Ontario is Canada's most populated province. It includes large cities and smaller communities. The region is shaped by industry and agriculture. Many people commute between towns. Woodstock is located in southwestern Ontario. The area includes small towns, rural land, and regional traffic. People move between communities for work, school, and daily life. Access to major roads makes travel easy. In Canada, publication bans are standard in cases involving sexual violence or severe violence against children. These bans apply to identities and to details of the crime. Courts can impose these bans on their own initiative. In practice, this happens routinely in these types of cases. As a result, court decisions often state that an assault occurred. They do not describe how it happened, in what order, or in what way. The purpose is to protect the victim and their family. However, this also means large parts of the events never become public. For outsiders, it is not possible to follow the crime in detail. Only the process, the charges, and the sentence are visible. This is not an exception. This is how the justice system is designed. Victoria Stafford was born on July 15, 2000. She grew up in Woodstock, Ontario. She lived with her mother, Tara McDonald. They lived in a residential area. Her parents were separated. She had regular contact with her father, Rodney Stafford. Victoria attended elementary school in Woodstock. She was 8 years old in the spring of 2009. She moved independently in her neighborhood. She walked to and from school on her own. She spent time with other children in the area. School staff and family described her as social and outgoing. She participated in school activities. She had many friends her own age. Tara McDonald was a single mother. She had primary responsibility for Victoria. She worked and supported the family on her own. Court records and media describe her as engaged in her daughter's life and schooling. When Victoria disappeared, Tara acted quickly. She reported her missing the same day. She was visible in the media during the search and afterward. She shared Victoria's photo through posters and social media. She appeared in newspapers and on television asking for help. Victoria's father, Rodney Stafford, was also visible in the media. This was true both during the disappearance and later. Rodney and Tara were separated but had a good relationship. Both were present and involved in Victoria's life. Rodney and Victoria met regularly. Victoria lived with her mother. After the case, Rodney Stafford took on a public role. He became involved in issues related to child safety, sentencing, and crime victims. Victoria lived in stable conditions. She had a safe home. She had engaged and loving parents. On April 8, 2009, Victoria Stafford goes to school as usual. She attends classes during the day. She plays with friends during recess. Nothing is unusual. When the school day ends, she gathers her school belongings. She starts walking home. She is alone. This is a walk she takes every day. Victoria does not come home that afternoon. After a short time, her mother becomes worried. Tara begins calling friends and classmates. She also calls their parents. No one has seen Victoria after school. No one knows where she is. Tara contacts the police and reports her daughter missing. Police respond immediately. They search the school area. They search walking paths, residential blocks, and playgrounds. They search places along the route between school and home. No traces are found. The search expands quickly. Parks, backyards, and gardens are searched. Both parents join the search. Many volunteers also help. Victoria's image spreads quickly. It appears on posters and social media. During the evening and night, police review surveillance footage. They go through it frame by frame. The footage shows Victoria after she leaves the school area. Camera by camera, her movements can be followed. She is not alone. She is seen with a young woman. They are seen walking away from the school area together. The woman is unknown. This is the last confirmed sighting of Victoria Stafford alive. The search continues through the night. Police continue working with the footage. In some sequences, a young man is also visible. Police determine that the man and the woman are connected. Their identities are still unknown. On April 9, 2009, the search continues. Police gather information from the school and nearby residents. They work to map Victoria's last movements. They continue analyzing the footage. At a nearby convenience store, Victoria is seen again. She is with the man and the woman. Police obtain clear images of both adults. They ask the public for help. Tips begin to come in. Many people recognize the man and the woman. Later that day, the name Michael Rafferty is provided. Police connect him to a vehicle seen in the area. Through this, the woman is also identified. The woman is Terri-Lynne McClintic. She was born in 1984 in Ontario. Her childhood was unstable. She was placed in foster care early in life. She had repeated contact with social services. She lacked a stable family environment. She had documented mental health issues. These included self-harm and suicide attempts. She struggled with substance abuse. She lived under socially vulnerable conditions. She had no steady employment. She relied on temporary housing and benefits. She moved between communities in Ontario. She had no fixed address in spring 2009. She had contact with healthcare and authorities at times. She lacked long-term stability. Court documents describe her as emotionally unstable. They also describe her as strongly influenced by Michael Rafferty. She was dependent on him, emotionally and practically. Michael Rafferty was born in 1983 in Ontario. He had a criminal history. He had prior convictions for violent and sexual offenses. He had served prison sentences. At the time of Victoria's disappearance, he was on conditional release. He had no steady job. He had no stable housing. He lived a transient life. He stayed in vehicles, with acquaintances, or in temporary housing. He supported himself through temporary work and benefits. He was known to police from previous cases. His name appeared in police records. He had repeated contact with the justice system. In court, he is described as the dominant partner. He controlled vehicles, money, and movement. McClintic and Rafferty were a couple. They lived together at times. They traveled together between locations. They shared vehicles. Court documents describe the relationship as unequal. Rafferty made most decisions. McClintic followed him. She depended on him for housing and transportation. There is no indication that either had prior contact with Victoria or her family. In spring 2009, they lived without stable roots. They had no permanent home. They had no steady employment. They moved between locations. They had access to a car. Sometimes they stayed with friends. Often the car was their home. Their life situation lacked planning and stability. This is the situation they are in when they arrive in Woodstock. Information about Rafferty's car leads police to him. He is arrested on the afternoon of April 9th. The arrest is calm. He is taken in for questioning. His belongings and vehicle are seized and searched. Multiple connected locations are searched. Police search for Victoria. They also search for McClintic. Police, volunteers, and emergency services take part in the search. Rafferty is questioned at the Woodstock police station. Investigators confront him with the surveillance footage. He denies knowing Victoria. He denies involvement in her disappearance. He describes his movements on April 8th. His account does not match the evidence. When confronted, he changes parts of his story. He continues to deny responsibility. The interrogation ends without a confession. On April 10th, McClintic is located. She is arrested and questioned. Her belongings are seized and searched. After her arrest, the investigation deepens. Both suspects are questioned. Police analyze movements, vehicles, and locations. At first, McClintic gives little information. She denies any crime. She cannot explain why she appears with Victoria. Interrogations continue. Investigators present technical evidence. They present links to Rafferty. Her position changes. She begins providing information. She places herself and Rafferty with Victoria after school. She describes locations and movements. This information redirects the investigation. Based on her statements, police expand the search. They move beyond Woodstock. At the same time, police question people in their circle. They map movements before and after the disappearance. Vehicles and temporary locations are searched. Information is compared. Rafferty continues to deny involvement. McClintic continues to provide incriminating details. Victoria Stafford is still missing. After Terri-Lynne McClintic begins providing information during interrogations on April 10, the direction of the investigation changes. Her statements are used immediately to guide police work. Locations she mentions are checked. Movement patterns are mapped. Timelines are adjusted based on what she says. Her information leads police away from Woodstock and into new geographic areas. Search efforts are redirected. Places that were not previously in focus are searched. Because of this information, police travel on April 13 to a forested area near Mount Rest in Ontario. The location is outside Woodstock, in a sparsely populated area. In a wooded section, a body is found. It is confirmed to be Victoria Stafford. Victoria Stafford's parents receive the worst news a parent can receive. The public is informed that a body has been found. It is confirmed that it is the missing 8-year-old Victoria Stafford. The search ends. The focus now shifts fully to the criminal investigation and the upcoming legal process. The site is secured. A forensic investigation begins. Crime scene technicians document the area and collect evidence. The body is transported for further forensic examination. The discovery confirms that Victoria Stafford is deceased. Natural causes are ruled out. The investigation officially shifts from a missing person case to a murder investigation. During the same period, interrogations continue with both Terri-Lynne McClintic and Michael Rafferty. McClintic continues to provide information. Rafferty continues to deny involvement. After the body is found on April 13, 2009, Victoria Stafford is transported to a forensic unit for autopsy. The examination is conducted to determine cause of death, time of death, and circumstances. The autopsy shows that she was subjected to severe violence. The cause of death is consistent with a violent crime. The injuries are assessed as having occurred during the offense. The forensic conclusion states that the death was not natural and that it was murder. The examination supports that death occurred shortly after she was taken. This confirms that she was not alive during the days she was missing. Forensic findings are documented and used in the continued investigation. Samples are taken for technical analysis. The results are added to the investigation file and later used in court. The autopsy results become a central part of the evidence against Terri-Lynne McClintic and Michael Rafferty. They form the basis for classifying the crime as murder. After the discovery, McClintic continues to be questioned. Her statements are used to reconstruct events after the abduction. Police verify what she says against technical evidence, witness statements, and other observations. Vehicles, movements, and stopping places are checked in the order she describes. At the same time, her account is used to test Rafferty's statements. They are questioned in parallel. When Rafferty continues to deny involvement, his version is compared to McClintic's statements. Contradictions are documented and added to the investigation material. Her information leads to further searches, seizures, and forensic examinations. Objects and locations she mentions are checked. Results are added to the case and connected to other evidence. When the investigation is compiled for prosecution, McClintic's statements form a core part of the overall picture. They are not used in isolation. They are tested against other evidence before being included in the charges. After the body is found and the autopsy results are confirmed, prosecutors begin formal charging procedures. The investigation is divided into 2 tracks. One track concerns Terri-Lynne McClintic, the other concerns Michael Rafferty. Against McClintic are her own statements, her presence with Victoria Stafford on surveillance footage, and the information she provided that led police to the body. Her role is considered established from beginning to end. The charges against her are built around her direct participation and her confession. Against Michael Rafferty, there is no confession. The case against him is built using technical evidence, surveillance footage, witness statements, vehicle evidence, and contradictions in his own interviews. Prosecutors assemble a timeline that connects him to McClintic and to Victoria Stafford after school ended on April 8. Charges are brought against both for murder, kidnapping, and sexual assault. The cases proceed in parallel but under different conditions. McClintic enters the process with a confession. Rafferty contests the charges. Before trial, hearings are held regarding evidence scope, publication bans, and what material may be made public. The court decides on reporting restrictions to protect the process and the family. Preparations continue. Witnesses are called. Technical evidence is compiled. Forensic reports are finalized. Prosecutors structure their case chronologically. The abduction. The movements after school. What happens afterward? The discovery of the body. When the investigation is considered sufficiently complete, trial dates are set. McClintic's case is handled first. She has stated she will plead guilty. Rafferty's case proceeds to a full trial. This is what Terri-Lynne McClintic has stated. After Victoria Stafford leaves school on April 8, 2009, she is abducted by Terri-Lynne McClintic and Michael Rafferty. The abduction occurs shortly after school ends. She is taken in their vehicle. During the following period, she is subjected to multiple crimes. Much of what occurs is covered by publication bans and is not described in detail in public court records. It is clear that she is subjected to sexual violence and lethal violence. These events lead to her death the same day. After the crime, her body is transported to a forested area near Mount Forest in Ontario. The location is remote. The body is left there. Mount Forest is the discovery site. Which locations are considered crime scenes is not specified. These are the events McClintic later describes during interrogations on April 10. Her information leads police to the area where the body is found on April 13. The forensic examination confirms her account. After arrest and initial interrogations, Terri-Lynne McClintic states that she intends to plead guilty. Her case does not proceed to a full trial. In court, she admits her involvement in the abduction, the crimes committed against Victoria Stafford, and her role in Victoria's death. She enters a guilty plea to first-degree murder. The court reviews the factual basis presented by prosecutors, which McClintic accepts. This includes her statements, technical evidence, and investigative findings. The court finds that the crime was planned. It involved the intentional abduction of a child leading to death. The sentence is life imprisonment without eligibility for parole for 25 years. This is the mandatory sentence for murder in Canada. The court notes that her information was crucial in locating the body and clarifying events. This does not affect the length of the sentence. McClintic is transferred to prison to serve her life sentence. After McClintic is convicted, the case against Michael Rafferty proceeds to full trial. He denies all charges. The prosecution presents surveillance footage, showing McClintic with Victoria shortly after school ends. Rafferty is placed in the same area. Prosecutors demonstrate how the two move together. Their movements align in time and place. Witnesses testify that they saw a man and a woman with a child near the school at that time. This supports Rafferty's presence during the abduction. Technical evidence links Rafferty to vehicles and locations used after the abduction. These findings align with McClintic's account. Rafferty's interrogations are presented in court. Prosecutors point out contradictions in his statements. His versions are compared with evidence and witness testimony. The defense claims Rafferty was not involved. They challenge the reliability of McClintic's statements. The court evaluates all evidence together. It finds that Rafferty participated in the abduction and crimes. Michael Rafferty is convicted of murder, kidnapping, and sexual assault. He is sentenced to life imprisonment without parole eligibility for 25 years. After both convictions, the formal legal process concludes. Both serve life sentences with possible parole after 25 years. The case receives widespread attention in Canada. Public reaction is strong locally and nationally. The Stafford family receives public support. Memorials are held for Victoria. In 2018, McClintic's placement in a Healing Lodge prison becomes public. The facility has lower security and is intended for inmates with indigenous background. The decision causes strong public and political reactions. Victoria Stafford's family also protests. The Canadian government criticizes the decision. McClintic is transferred back to a higher security prison. Michael Rafferty continues serving his sentence in federal prison. He has never confessed. Michael Rafferty was known to the justice system before the crime. He had prior convictions for violent and sexual offenses. At least one involved minors. He had served prison sentences and was on conditional release at the time of the murder. He was under supervision while living freely in spring 2009. After the convictions, criticism is directed at the Canadian justice system. Questions are raised about risk assessment and parole. If Rafferty had been incarcerated according to earlier sentences, the crime could not have occurred. In that sense, Victoria Stafford's death is also the result of a system failure. That question remains. Not as a legal dispute, but as a systemic issue. Victoria Stafford's name remains present through memorials, charities, and annual remembrances. Victoria Stafford was only 8 years old. She was only walking home from school. Her path crossed with Michael and Terri-Lynne.